Good morning, Michelle. How are you today?
Hello, Dee.
All right. So, our theme for today for exposed leadership is we're just going to go for it. And we've had a lot of starts and stops with our podcast. Life just keeps clicking along for both of us. So, we're just going to go for it today and just talk a little bit about leadership and women being exposed, living their real raw self, and, how sometimes you just got to move forward. Perfection isn't a thing, right? Knowing that
Right.
perfect, you could be perfectly imperfect and still get to where you want to go. So, so
Yeah.
what's so what's been on your mind? Let's talk about what's been happening in your world.
Well, I think, as you introduce the whole idea of like, just go for it, imperfection, that often gets us into a place of analysis paralysis,
Mm-hmm.
where we procrastinate because we don't feel like we have our ducks in a row, or things don't feel like I have a plan, or we're consumed by what is the perception of other people. And so when we talked about doing this, I'm like, it just makes sense because it's so freeing to let all of that go and
Yep.
just jump in and figure it out and discover just how competent, capable, and effective we are.
Yeah. Well, you'll often say about give yourself permission, right? Give yourself permission to, just, you know, take care of yourself, be vulnerable. So I think what we're doing today is just giving ourselves permission to be what we say, to practice what we preach about being raw in our truth, and just have a genuine conversation about being a woman in the world today and not worrying about what it looks like or feels like or how people might judge us, but just let it be.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I think it's such a symbol of confidence, actually.
yeah.
And like comfort with being humble, comfort with being imperfect. And not even just comfort, like embracing it and celebrating it. Like, this
Mhm.
is the raw me. And I'm proud of who I am, and I'm not going to let any social media things or things that other people might say influence and change that level of confidence that I have.
Yeah. I guess I'm also just thinking about every time you and I have tried to do something together, I come on and I'm like, "Whoa, this is what's happened for me," right? So the last year of my life has been super tumultuous, right? My husband sold his business. My job has changed a little bit. We sold our house. We've moved across country. Then we came back to New York. Then we moved back to Arizona, right? And every time I talk to you, I'm like, oh my God, my world is upside down. So when we talk about being spontaneous and just going for it, I think the last year of my life has been super spontaneous and just going for it. And as we talked about this morning before we started the podcast, it's kind
Yeah.
of set my physical self into a bit of a frenzy. But
Yeah.
I think it goes to show that you can do some crazy, wild things. Just go for it. Use your supports, right? Like you as my friend for how many years have we been friends? 30 years.
30. Hmm.
30 years. Um, and just use your supports and your network to get you through. But do the thing you think you cannot do, which is one of my favorite quotes, because
Yes.
it'll keep you stuck. So, for me, moving across country and I live in Arizona has been super wild. But
Yeah.
if I had not taken some of those risks and exposed myself and been super vulnerable, I wouldn't be where I am doing what I'm doing with you today. So,
Yeah.
um,
We grow through that discomfort,
yes.
so having the courage and confidence and the support to step into a space that we're unfamiliar so we can discover just how comfortable we are in those new
Yes.
spaces and new
Or we
activities.
collapse and wind up in the ER. Or that.
Well, we'll try to minimize those, but
Uh,
yeah,
but no, you're right. Grow or die, right? You grow or die. So
it's so rewarding. And one of the things that I often talk about with everybody that I work with through my coaching or counseling is that as soon as we start working together, you're inviting grief. And so you have to be ready
yeah.
and courageous to take that step of moving into uncomfortable for your own self, of like moving out of what what you're familiar with, but also all the people around you who are so used to how you operate that now it's uncomfortable for them because they're
Mm.
not used to you being in that way. So you have to be like really convicted with, this is for me and I'm not going to let anybody hold me back or make me revert back for their comfort.
Yeah. Well, that keeps you small, right? We always often will talk about living bold. And when you do that and you try to play it safe for others, you're not living bold and free. You're living
Right.
small. You're like in the fishbowl rather than being in the big pond, right?
Yeah.
And I think when you expose yourself and allow yourself to be vulnerable and spontaneous, like we're talking about today, you can actually be a like a mentor or a guide for those around you, right? Like, well, if she can do it, then so can I.
Yeah.
Um, so I think you got to look at it that way. Like, are you setting the tone and expectation for other people who rely on you or kind of see you as someone they want to emulate? But
Yeah. And then I think so I just wrote a blog about this the other day about how we're not even aware of how those small acts of courage unknowingly prepare us for something else. So we need to take time to really reflect and celebrate those acts of courage and living boldly,
mhm.
how in the moment it was related to a particular time frame or in circumstance, but when you look at that over time, like, holy cow, no wonder I feel so comfortable to just do what I'm doing now, because I didn't even know I was preparing myself for it, but I
Yeah.
was.
So, kind of encompassing what we're talking about today, what would you say in the last 6 months or 12 months is your greatest act of courage? Like, what would you share with the people who are listening to us, the women?
Greatest act of courage for me was following my gut. Um, so I have been just boldly reaching out to people to make connections.
Hmm.
And where I see alignment and benefit to either me grow to learn through somebody else, or because we seem to have commonality and perhaps we could team up on something, just boldly reaching out and say, hey, would you be interested in getting together? Blah, 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 blah. And in the moment it's like, okay, this is cool because I'm helping to make myself more visible and raise awareness about who I am and the services that I offer. But now I'm at a place of realizing, like, because I've done that, I'm at the place where I am now as a
Hmm.
successful entrepreneur. And how that's kind of like coming back. And now I had somebody reach out to me and say, hey, we seem to have similarities. Would you be interested? Absolutely. I want to help
Yeah.
elevate and amplify other people. And like celebrating, like, yes, you're doing exactly what I did, but now people are looking to me to be able to share my experiences. So I think, being courageous enough to reach out to people, not knowing,
Yeah.
what the response was going to be or what might come of it, but it's amazing the things that come of it. I was just talking to um Jared Byer,
Oh.
and yesterday him and I had met up and we were talking about how you can get on this path. You hop on the throughway and you're ready to get to exit whatever, and it's a pretty smooth, steady pace. It's a very clearly marked path, but there's a detour on the 90, and now you need to take all these back roads. And when you do, the gifts and the beauty that you get to encounter, that because you're going at a slower, different pace, you get to experience that you wouldn't have if you stayed on the 90. And so I think, that openness, that abundance mindset of what can I gain from this, like, you just don't know. You're like,
Right.
oh, let's just see, open that mystery box.
Well, you are definitely a master of networking. I'm always in awe of you putting yourself out there and the people you meet and the things that you do. Like you're always, your feet are always moving, right? Like you're never standing still. And just your capacity to network and meet new people and then find those connections
Yeah.
has always been, I've admired that about you. So I'm not that great at that. I don't have the energy to do that. Like you have tons of energy around that. So kudos to you.
You you have energy. You use your energy in a different
Good for
way.
you. Yeah. Yeah.
And when you are in those spaces, maybe you're not initiating, the outreach, but when you are in those spaces with other people, the impact that you have in your interactions. Like I think about that one event that you invited me to co-facilitate with you because you were recovering from surgery,
Yeah.
and just people were in awe of your energy and your perspective and the information you were able to share with them around helping them know themselves individually, but then also what does that mean as a team. And so it's just we enter at different points to
Right.
have that influence on other people.
Yeah. Well, the interesting thing is you're an introvert and I'm an extrovert, but you really put yourself out there, right, in these ways that I don't. I think I have in the past, but I'm just in a different place and mindset now. Because when I did have to do that, I did. But I'm in awe of you because it takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot of
Yeah.
energy.
Yeah, and what you don't see is all the alone time that I need to get myself revved up and
Yeah.
then to recoup after the fact. And
The behind the scenes, right? Like talking about, you can appear spontaneous on the forefront, but behind the scenes, like all the work and energy that goes into just being spontaneous. I know because my bold move was that I was going to share in answering my own question was about moving across country,
yeah.
right? Like I was not anticipating that that would happen in 2025 for me. You know the story. We came here to Arizona to kind of scout it out and look for a place potentially to move and retire. And next thing I know, 10 days later, we're buying a house, going home, packing up, and moving across country. So that looks super spontaneous. And right now I'm like, okay, this is amazing. And this feels really good to be here and how fun to have made that big, bold change. But to laugh at myself, that spontaneous move behind
Yes.
the scenes was, grounded in a lot of anxiety and tears and grief and loss and just trying to get to where I am today. So, and just having you as a support and other people as a support to get me through the process of making that big change has been a lot, but I feel good about it, right? And it's kind of led me into new and exciting adventures, right? Being out
Right.
here
Right.
in Arizona and some of the things that I'm planning on doing moving forward. I think being out here is going to help me to do a lot of those things I want to
Yeah.
do next in my career. So,
Yeah.
okay, so we've this is about 15 minutes in, and I know you have to kind of move on with your day. So, anything that you kind of want to leave our audience with today, like any parting words? I'm always putting you on the spot here today, but
I, please subscribe and join us for
yeah,
all of our episodes of Exposed podcast on YouTube, and please share with your friends too, because this is going to be very lighthearted, but really
yeah,
touch on some really intimate, relatable things that women in those senior level leadership positions really navigate. And this is this is nice because it's not pressure, it's not learning anything, it's just being present and
mhm.
supported, um and hopefully getting some good laughs as Dee and I expose our own selves,
The real
not
rough.
literally.
So yeah, not literally expose ourselves, but no, I think the one thing that people need to realize about this is that it's not a formal leadership experience. It's about the real human side of being a leader, being a woman in business, being a human in leadership. It's challenging, and you're not just the leader in that position guiding other people, but life, right? Like we have a big life that surrounds us in these roles and responsibilities that we have. And you and I enjoy talking and laughing about some of the stuff that happens behind the scenes, right? And the emotion and I don't know, just all the real stuff that goes into the things that we've done in our lives. We started out in graduate school together in 1995, right? Was that
Yeah,
it?
good memory.
And here we are 2025, and you and I have had a mass of just experience and life and change and things that have happened in the middle of all that, and so just sharing all those things that we've learned along the way will
Yeah.
be super
Yeah.
exciting and hopefully helpful to those who follow us. So
Right. Yeah.
okay,
So thank
well,
you.
thanks for your time today. And you and I will meet again. And, for those of you following us, reach out, ask us any question anytime.
Yeah. Or anything you want us to talk about.
For sure. Okay. Bye.